Hey folks, welcome to Unqualified, the fantasy football podcast that's been living, laughing, and loving since 2017. I'm your producer, Rob Diesendorf, here with Sean Brady and Scott Johnson, two fantasy football rivals that have been sabotaging each other for years, but they decided to come together to help you win your league and make your friends look like idiots. How's it going, fellas?
That is the most cringeworthy line in the world. I don't think there's a more cliched bad bumper sticker line out there. So, nice.
Is it even a bumper sticker anymore, or is it something that you put on your house and it's like, why?
You gotta frame it, you put it up in your house in the front lobby or wherever, whatever kind of thing you have. What is it called? A foyer?
Foyer?
If you're calling your front door area a foyer,
do you pronounce it foyer?
Have some choice words for you.
I think it's just a foyer, but maybe the people that hang those types of signs call it a foyer because that's the same type of energy right there.
That's a good point. I'm going to look up pronunciation right now while we're doing this.
You cuties, is it a foyer or foyer? Hit us in the DMs. Let us know.
Oh wow, it might be foyer.
Ooh,
is it?
It might very well be foyer. It's a French word.
Okay.
In 1859, from France, it's like green room for actors when not on stage. That's what it was originally meant to be. Literally fireplace, foyer.
This is like that episode of The Office where Michael gets that fact about China right, and Oscar is so mad that he was wrong, and they have a whole debate about China. That's what just happened right there. So congrats, Rob, on the foyer.
Mind blown.
The foyer.
Looks like little old Rob's got a bit of a vocabulary on him.
Couple tricks up a sleeve there, bud. You got a nice little beanie hat on. You got some tricks up y'all's sleeve. I like that.
Unfortunately, my season is still over. No change from last week.
Still on fantasy football vacation?
Still on FF vacay.
Have you brought up knitting?
Hashtag FF vacay. I haven't been knitting, but I have been eating.
Nice.
Done a lot of eating.
Well, that's important, I guess.
Done a lot of binge Googling, and a lot of podcasting.
Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice little Saturday you got there.
Got a nice little Saturday going on.
Nice quote. Nice. Good reference.
It is fantasy football final week. This is the week, and Scott and I know this too well, that players will be etched into your mind for the rest of your life this week. For better or for worse. For example,
mostly for worse.
Todd Gurley could assault one of my good friends. Todd Gurley could assault Scott, and I'd probably be like, maybe Scott did something to deserve it.
Maybe he deserved it. Honestly, if he assaulted, he's been killing my teams for good this year. So yeah, if he assaulted me, I'd be fine with it too. Be like, it's worth it. Keep on doing it.
I know Scott's got some guys on the flip side that are permanently on the shit list.
Yeah, Steven Hauschka. We were just looking at the history of our OG league, and I was in the finals. We'll get to that in a second, but I was in the finals 4 years ago, 2014, and the kicker, Steven Hauschka, who's on the Seattle Seahawks at the time, played the Cardinals, missed 3 field goals all year, decided to miss 3 field goals that day, so he missed 6 all year. And I ended up losing by 3 points. We checked that. And so he's on there. Kenny Stills, Emmanuel Sanders. He's kind of off and on. But yeah, Stafford is being put on there now. There's a bunch of other guys.
Just for reference, I have young cousins that are younger than Scott's hatred for those players. So just keep that in perspective. That's the type of hatred that might be built this week in the fantasy football finals. Scott, we got to check in on our playoff teams. I'll let you start because you have 7 leagues to worry about. So how we doing in your 7 leagues?
Yeah, so I had a really good week last week. I had 4 teams that were in contention in the semifinals. Won all 4 of them. Let's go.
Clean sweep. So I lost one in the quarterfinals 2 weeks ago, and it was just because of Amari Cooper. So he's on the shit list as well. But yeah, so 4 out of the 7 teams were in the finals now. So I got OG. We got Shelby's league, girlfriend of the pod. Although it is her team, quote unquote. So second time we're in the finals. We were in the finals last year and lost by 0.5 points. We're not going to talk about that. Another one, a work league that I am helping commission, or I am the commissioner of. And then Hoboken. We got our Hoboken League that Sean and I have another final matchup. Johnson Brady 2.0. I'm so excited that we're facing off, squaring off in the Hoboken finals.
it was a very tumultuous season for me personally in that league. So I think making it there is just, I'm not going to say that I'm happy to be here because that would just, say that, I don't want to win it. But I am thrilled that I got my ragtag team that has not had a wide receiver 2 for the entire year all the way to the finals in Hoboken. So that's one of my 3 leagues that I was in the semifinals in. Very excited about that matchup this weekend. Made it to the finals in the Brady Bros League. I'll take on Ryan Brady, brother of the pod, and actual year 1 champion of that league. So hopefully I don't let him get his second ring before I get my first.
Please don't.
And we're not talking about the OG League because it was Black Sunday for me. If you
it was a rough one.
If you listen to this podcast, or at least listen to the first 5 minutes every week, you'll know that I spent the whole year avoiding talking about my 12-0 team in the OG League that went 12-1. Scott beat me in the final week of the regular season, and then lost after a first round bye. Lost in the semifinals. Complete choke job on me. That is the what is it? The white elephant? Is that what's the elusive animal?
White tiger.
The white tiger. Oh, the great white buffalo from Hot Tub Time Machine. Something of that nature.
Could be anything you want, really.
It's the holy grail.
Make it anything you want.
I can't seem to make it happen in the OG League, and it's killing me. It's over a decade now of not winning a title in that league. So we're done talking about it for the year. Good luck to Scott in the finals. And yeah,
could have been you and me in that one too. That would have been sick.
It really would have been. But 2 out of 3, I can't complain too much. I'm very, very hyped for this weekend. Okay, it's the final week, championship week. It's time to make some championship plays here. We'll start with the primetime games. And remember out there, that includes Saturday now. We don't have a Thursday night game this week, but we do have Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. So definitely check those lineups early. Have them set by Friday, I would say. Not the week to tinker on Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Trust me. From past experience, I know. Let's start off with Saturday afternoon. We got the Redskins at the Titans. This game is definitely going to be pretty ugly. I'm not a huge fan of either team. I will say, though, Derrick Henry, baby, scooped him up somehow in waivers in Hoboken, and I'm plugging him in. And I hope it scares you, Scott, because I'm excited to see what happens there.
That scares future Scott, absolutely. Titans, Derrick Henry, top 15 play still, somehow. I wouldn't get caught. I mean, if you're looking ahead to next year, don't get caught drafting him too high because he did go 40th overall this year about on average, and this is what he should have been all year, and maybe, he finally showed up. And also, screw you, I put in a waiver claim for him, and remember when we told Rob to get him and he didn't get him? That was cool. So Redskins, Josh Johnson actually makes the Redskins interesting for playoff implications, but he doesn't do much fantasy-wise. He has some legs, but just stay away from all of them. And then Titans play Derrick Henry, wouldn't play Deion Lewis, and then the defense is a really good play here too.
Yes, that defense is definitely one to keep an eye on here. Pick them here. The line is the Titans by 10, and look, I don't think the Titans are that good, but the Redskins are definitely that bad, so I'm picking the Titans there.
Yeah, I'm going to go Titans as well. It's kind of like Jekyll and Dr. Hyde. Is that what it is? Dr. Jekyll and Hyde or something?
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I think.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Great. I'm glad I know a lot of references like that. So that's good. But yeah, the Titans, it's just when they're going to show up. I'll take them over 10. They're at home. Their defense is pretty stout. They just held the Giants to 0 points, and the Redskins don't have nearly the firepower that the Giants do.
Yeah, also shout out Mike Vrabel. Might be a really good head coach. The jury's out still. But,
who the hell knows? Can't even tell.
But I've been impressed.
They're in the playoff hunt.
Absolutely, and they have no business being in the playoff hunt. So that's a testament, I think, to that coaching staff.
I agree.
Let's look ahead to Saturday night. This one's a much better matchup here. The Ravens at the Chargers. Chargers they were number 1 on Colin Cowherd's herd hierarchy. They are the talk of the town right now. They're in the 5 seed, locked in, because unless they jump the Chiefs by the end of the year, they won't be a first-round bye. But they might be the best team in the NFL right now, which is kind of crazy to say. That being said, the Ravens D is still pretty good. What do you think fantasy-wise for these two teams, Scott? Ravens at Chargers.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is actually a really interesting matchup. And the Ravens with the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago, or was that last week? It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Chargers. And then the Chargers at the Chiefs was last week. So the Chiefs have played both these teams, and they both these teams played them pretty tight. And I think the Chiefs are probably one of the top 3 teams in the NFL. Chargers are right up there too. But fantasy purposes, I think Lamar Jackson is the only guy you could really trust on the Ravens. It's a tough matchup on the road. He's not really throwing it a ton, which means his pass catchers are pretty much useless. And then the Chargers, Mike Williams, I think he's a plug and play. Even if Keenan Allen comes back this week, this is a really tough matchup, though. I think you have to play him, but you got to lower expectations. He's not going to get 3 touchdowns again against the Ravens' stout front. Phillip Rivers is also a tough play. I mean, they just held Jameis Winston to 150 yards, and 50 of them came on a broken play to Mike Evans, and 1 interception. So tough plot in here.
Yeah, I would say if Melvin Gordon comes back, you can't afford to bench him here, especially if you survived him not playing last week. However, if he doesn't play, Justin Jackson he scored last week, and believe me, I had him on one of my teams. I still don't know that he's a must start in this matchup.
Not in this one.
You could do worse. Like, I could see you starting him, but he's not an automatic plug and play here like he was last week. And I agree. I think Mike Williams is awesome. I can't wait to see what he does next year. The line here is Chargers by 5. I'm picking the Chargers just because they're so red hot. I can see the Ravens like keeping this tight, but 5 is not a crazy line. I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah, I can see them winning by a touchdown too. I'll take the Chargers, especially after beating the Chiefs last week.
Okay, let's look at Sunday night, and this game I think will swing many a playoff matchup this week, or many a championship matchup this week. We have the Chiefs at the Seahawks. The question for me here is how much and to what extent can the Seahawks defense slow down this Chiefs offense? Because I think Russ will get his. I think Baldwin is actually kind of a nice play this week. Probably like a flex starter for you at this point anyway. But how good is this Seahawks defense, and can they slow down the Chiefs? That's the answer that's going to decide, or the question that's going to decide a lot of championships this week. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, if you asked me 4 or 5 weeks ago, I would have said they're going to stop the Chiefs and like maybe give the Chiefs their second loss of the season at that point. Now, after Nick Mullins just didn't thrash them, but didn't do badly at all, or as badly as we thought last week with the 49ers, I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to roll over the Seahawks in this game. I think the Seahawks are... I think they're still one of the top teams in the NFC. It's not saying much about the NFC right now, but yeah, I think you're playing Russ. Obviously, this is going to be kind of a shootout, but I don't think you should be as afraid of the Chiefs' skill players as you should have been a couple of weeks ago. The Seahawks defense, it looked lost against the 49ers. So I think you play everyone. Damian Williams is a solid play if Spencer Ware is still out, which he might come back this week. So if he's back, I mean, I would probably play Ware if you had to, but he's just a flex guy at this point, not really a bona fide starter.
All right, so we have the line here is the Chiefs by 2.5, and I feel like Vegas knows something that I don't here. So I'm picking the Seahawks because I feel like something's up. Like this line is still kind of low. I know it's at Seattle, but I don't know. I'm going to take the home team here.
It's a weird one. I'm going to take the Chiefs. It is tough. I mean, it's on the road, and Seattle is a really tough place to play. It's one of the loudest stadiums. I think Arrowhead is the loudest, and then Seattle's the second loudest. So I don't know. I think the Chiefs do have something to play for here. They could potentially lose that first seed to the Texans, I think, who are the second seed if they win a couple more. If they lose and the Chargers win out too, that's going to put them in a bind. So I think that that's a must win. Just like the Colts last week with the Cowboys, I didn't think the Colts were going to win, but that was a must win for them. So I think the Chiefs are going to take it to them this week. I'm taking the Chiefs by 2.5.
God, I hope so. With Pat Mahomes going on both my championship squads, let's look at Monday night. The Broncos at the Raiders, Monday Night Football. And look, this is not a good game. Let's just throw that out there. This game's not good. However, Monday night is Gruden night. It's the first. Like I watched almost all.
Oh
of
my
Monday Night
God,
Football.
it's so true.
This is going to be his triumphant return to ESPN television on Monday night.
Wow.
And I watched every second of the game, the Monday night game this past week, the Panthers and Saints game, and I never thought I would miss Jon Gruden in the booth, but they are terrible. Jason Witten is, I'm sure he's a great guy. He honestly sounds like a great guy, but not a guy that should be commentating games. And Booger is like, he just butts in at the worst times. It's brutal. I hope
Boogermobile.
I hope that Jon Gruden makes us miss him in the booth as much as I do every week, because I have a feeling he's going to be on the sideline and we're going to be like, shouldn't you just be up there? Like, are you doing much better anyway? What do you think of this matchup, Scott?
I completely agree. Also, low-key point I wanted to add to that is Booger McFarland is on like a trolley on the sideline, and he blocks the view of like the whole first 5 rows on the opposing sideline. Like, how annoying would that be if you're on a Monday night primetime game and like you might be on TV if you're in the front row? Booger McFarland the Boogermobile is blocking you. I don't know if that's true, if it's like first 5 rows or whatever it is, but pretty sure it is. Like, they get blocked, and he has a glass behind him.
Oh, God.
I'm sure because people would probably throw stuff at him otherwise.
Definitely.
Anyway, yeah, that's a great point about Gruden coming back to Monday night. Broncos side, I guess you have to play Philip Lindsay. What a brutal past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised the league I have him in. I mean, he's done well all year, but surprised I'm still in it in OG. And I'm going to play him because the Raiders are such a good matchup. They're such a bad run defense. But Raiders side, I wouldn't overthink this, but deep league appeal for Jordy Nelson after 22 catches the past 3 weeks. So I wouldn't really think of anyone else. Jared Cook, you're still plugging in. You're not plugging in any pass catchers on the Broncos except for maybe Deshaun Hamilton in deep leagues. He's had about 13 catches the past 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, Courtland Sutton, huge disappointment for me. I really thought, maybe he'll be, good to go next year, but honestly, I'm picking the Raiders here. The Broncos are favored by 2.5. I think the Raiders might win this game because I don't think the Broncos are that good. I don't think Case Keenum's that good. They really are terrible without Emmanuel Sanders, so I think the Raiders win this game, and Gruden really revels in that Monday Night Madness.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I'm going to take the Broncos, but I have been burnt before. I thought the Broncos were going to crush the 49ers the other day, 2 weeks ago, and the 49ers beat them, and wasn't really close, and the Broncos were on the road, so I see what you're saying. I think the Raiders can easily win this game, but I'm going to take the Broncos winning by 3. Another point that kind of sucks, a lot of championship matchups are going to come down to this game.
Yeah, Jared
like
Cook
this
probably.
Piece of crap game with Philip Lindsay and Jared Cook.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine that?
Those guys are going to be, for better or worse, tattooed on the minds of fantasy owners all across
And the Broncos
America.
defense too. This is brutal. Sorry to anyone who has anyone in this game. You have to wait until Monday for this piece of crap game.
Okay, quick hitter time. Jaguars at Dolphins. Oof. Two terrible Florida teams. I guess it's good that the Jaguars don't have to travel very far, but this is going to be very ugly. I don't even know what to say fantasy-wise. I don't know if you're playing anyone in this game. Like Leonard Fournette, show me something, man. I don't know.
Nothing.
Scott, what do you think?
Lenny is back. Remember what called him in the beginning of the season, Lenny?
Yeah.
Like midway through the season because he was out, and he picked the worst time to have his worst 2 games of the season.
Yeah.
So if you survived his last 2 weeks, I don't think you can afford to not play him. The Dolphins' run defense is one of the worst in the league. I think it's 30th against running backs. So yeah, go ahead, play him, but at your own risk. And then the Dolphins, Kenyon Drake, play him, but at your own risk as well. I mean, he should have taken over for Gore when he went down, but Kalen Ballage, he's littered with upside, and he's the one that took over. So I mean, if Gore's out again and Kenyon Drake is still hampered with a shoulder injury, Kalen Ballage could get you over the hump. I wouldn't necessarily play Ballage over like Leonard Fournette, but they're 2 names to kind of look for. But yeah, this game there's not much going on. Kenyon Drake, also one thing about him, he just continues his up and down season. In a full point PPR league, I would think about playing him, but nothing else.
Yeah, I don't know how many owners out there have a piece of this game. Hopefully not too many of you because it could be an ugly one. The line here is Dolphins by 3.5. I'm taking the Dolphins just because at least they have, I know their quarterback's not good, but at least they have a quarterback. So I'm picking the Dolphins here.
Yep, I'll take the Fins. Win by a touchdown or 2. I think the team itself is not horrible. What are they, 7-7?
Yeah,
or 8-7 or 7-8, or I don't know, whatever they are. But yeah, I'll take the Fins.
All right, let's look at the rest of the AFC here. Essentially, AFC East rather. The Bills at the Patriots. Josh Allen is really the story here. On the Patriots side, they're not the same Patriots. So fantasy-wise, there's some definite intrigue here. What do you think of this Bills-Patriots matchup, Scott?
Yeah, Josh Allen to Robert Foster, I think.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say it, but the last 2 weeks has been one of the best deep threats for a quarterback to wide receiver tandem. I mean, he was barely started at Alabama, Robert Foster. He wasn't even drafted. So, yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, it's such a tough position for owners because you can't not play him because of the rushing ability, but you have to think the Patriots are going to figure that out.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to think Bill Belichick coming off of 2 losses is going to tighten that up. And Josh Allen had the lowest rushing output of the season as a starter. He had 13 yards last week. Did have a touchdown to salvage his day, but otherwise would have had 10 points and could have put up a pretty poor showing in the semifinals. So Playing at your own risk. I have him. I'm going to play Jameis Winston over him, even though Jameis Winston has a really tough matchup coming up. But the Patriots side, Josh Gordon nearly laying a goose egg is kind of ridiculous, but I think you still got to play him and the running backs just because of the full body of work that Gordon has had as a Patriot. It's been like 70 yards at least or a touchdown. So I would just take out last week as an aberration because of a tough Steelers secondary, honestly.
You know who Gordon kind of reminds me of on the Patriots, and it's just starting to hit me? He's kind of like a Robert Woods type. And it's like,
yeah,
it's crazy because he's obviously dripping with like total upside, but they use him a lot like the Rams use Woods, and that's honestly good for his production. He's very consistent. Last week was a little bit of an aberration, so I'm with you there. That being said, the line here is Pats by 10, and I'm picking the Bills because I think Josh Allen could, run around and make some stuff happen and keep that game close. And the Patriots are not the same. So I'm picking the Bills there.
Yeah, Patriots are not the same. I have to look at Tom Brady's stats versus the Bills. That's one thing I did not add in here. I'm pretty sure he has their number just at home, not on the road. So I'm going to take the Patriots. I could see them winning by 2 touchdowns, being pissed off that they just lost 2 games in a row. Belichick's record after 2 losses in a row, it's barely like non-existent because they rarely lose 2 in a row, but it's very good.
All right, so we got the Packers at the Jets here in our next quick hitter, and I don't know what to even say about this game. Obviously, if you have Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams, you're probably playing them, and if you have any Jets on your roster, you're probably not in championships anyway. So that's all I got to say. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, that's about it. This is the quickest one we have. I think A-Rod kind of sucks this year. He's hurt. You survived him all year, and you're in the finals. I don't think you can afford to not play him. Like I would still play him over Josh Allen, kind of, but I mean, we'll get into our next episode about where we think he'll end up next year in the offseason rankings. But Devontae Adams play, Jamal Williams is a somewhat good play if Aaron Jones is out this week, which he probably will be with an MCL injury. And then the Jets, I mean, Elijah McGuire is an okay play. That's like it though. I wouldn't get too cute with anything here.
Okay, let's look at the line here. It's Packers by 3. I'm picking the Packers. I kind of want the Jets to lose anyway. We're in a very good draft position for next year, so hopefully that stays that way for the rest of the year.
Yep. I'm going to take the Packers. The Texans, last week, there was -6.5 to the Texans, and of course the Jets scored with like a minute left in the game. I was at this game, and I was like, good. The Jets, of course, they fucked up my pick 'em. And then they get scored on, and then... they get scored on, or they score. Anyway, the Texans got a last-minute field goal and covered. So I'm going to take the Packers here.
All right, we have the Rams at the Cardinals in our last quick hitter here. And I know you're all out there hating on the Rams, and you're like freaking out. The sky's falling in Los Angeles. But let's be real here. The Cardinals suck. We've said this about a few teams this year, but they are without a doubt the worst team in the NFL. They're worse than the Raiders. They're worse than the Jets. They're worse than the Bills. They're definitely worse than the 49ers. And I think a trip to Glendale is exactly what the doctor ordered for these Rams. This is going to be very one-sided, and it's going to be one of those look-away games because they're going to be throwing in the towel early.
Yeah, it's... Ugh. I mean, here's the thing with the Rams. Goff has looked absolutely horrible the past 2 weeks. And I'll add in the third week before that, too. Past 2 weeks, though, he's had 6 interceptions. I wouldn't play him away against the Cardinals, which are like 6th best against quarterbacks, if I were you. I mean, even though it's a god-awful Cardinals, I think if Todd Gurley plays, like this is a Todd Gurley game, and you need to pick up John Kelly, the backup, because Todd Gurley was pretty hurt in the second half of the last game. But yeah, the Cardinals, David Johnson will have some relevance in the passing game just because they're going to catch up a lot. But Mike Glennon coming in, it does not bode well for Josh Rosen. Who cares, honestly? It's just really about David Johnson in the Cardinals side. But yeah, I mean, the Rams are favored by 13.5. We've been burnt before by
big spreads,
tough lines against the Cardinals, but I don't see any way. I feel like it just feels like the Rams are going to get back on track this week and win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so I'll take the Rams.
I agree. Even if their offense doesn't go off, like Robert Woods and Todd Gurley will do enough to get them above 2 scores here. Like I don't see Josh Rosen and that offense doing anything against this Rams defense.
Yeah, especially if it's Mike Glennon too. I will say the Rams, they've teams that figured out something. A way to figure out the Rams offense. So that made no sense. Anyway, they play a lot of deep safety and take away the deep game from the Rams. Brandon Cooks hasn't had a deep catch in a couple of weeks, more than like 30 yards. Robert Woods, same thing. So they're doing a lot of underneath throws, and they're daring the Rams to actually run it and do short throws with the tight end, with Robert Woods along the middle. So it's a pretty good game plan. I don't know that the Cardinals have the firepower to really do that, but Patrick Peterson could take away the deep balls, so could be tough plotting, honestly, for Jared Goff.
I will say one more thing here, fantasy-wise. This Rams defense is easily, for me, the top defense special teams play of the week. Like, Aaron Donald chasing after Josh Rosen or Mike Glennon, thank you very much. Serve that to me on a silver platter in my fantasy championship.
Fantasy goodness.
I wish I had that defense going for any of my teams, but if you do, good on you, because that's a great play this week.
And it's time for the mailbag, everybody's favorite segment that I'm not allowed to sing the intro to anymore. How is it? What is that, third week in the row that I haven't sung the intro? How do you guys feel? You feel better now?
I'm not going to say a
you
word
happy?
because last week I said something and then you started singing because it was like
You happy
a nice
that I
transition into it. So
you happy that you crushed my dreams and I'm not allowed to have any joy on this podcast anymore?
very, very much so. Sean?
Good.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Good.
I'm not going to
Sick,
get
yeah.
sick of hearing you talk about not singing. Let's put it that way.
Sick. Yeah, sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if I sang all the questions today? What would you do?
I would hang up. I would turn my recorder off. Go on a nice
Brisk
nice
walk.
bath. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't bath. I don't bathe. I don't know why I said bath.
You don't
I would just
bathe?
walk away.
Oh, no.
I'm just
Okay.
I would walk somewhere. Anyway.
Yeah, that being said, we'll go right into the first question. John from New Jersey. Can you guys get Nicolas Cage on the pod and psychoanalyze him?
I mean, can we? I don't know
Sure.
if I would enjoy that or not enjoy it. I don't know.
I feel like I don't know if we do. I don't know if we have the connects. I feel like it might actually be possible. I don't know why, just because it's Nicolas Cage and he's just like that weird that like he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'll come on this random fantasy football podcast."
He's too busy
not
doing any more movies, so.
Yeah. He's like, I got time in between these scripts.
Although,
that
didn't
come
you
in
just
every
watch
4
one of his?
years.
Didn't you just watch one of his movies, Rob?
I did. I just watched this weird horror movie he was in. I forget the name of it.
Oh,
But I'm
great!
sure if you Google it, it'll come up. It's just, I can't even describe it to you. I'm not even going to go there.
He's got like
But,
a crazy face in the poster, and it's like blood on his head.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what
Fun.
you guys are.
Terrifying.
Good times.
Terrifying. I left that movie feeling deeply, deeply uncomfortable.
So we definitely need to psychoanalyze him. I don't know if we want him on the pod to psychoanalyze him. So
Yeah. It would be, I think that it would bring us some much needed closure if we did do that.
we'll work on it, John. from
So
New Jersey.
I'm willing to give it a try if we can get him on here. Royce in Pittsburgh. I lost everything this season.
Same.
Join the club,
Royce.
man.
Same.
Hashtag Black Sunday, OG League, disaster of a week. One of the worst weeks I've ever had in fantasy football. And I won 2 semifinals. And I feel you. I feel that this week.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, even if I made it to 4 out of 7, and I'm still only thinking about those 3 leagues that I didn't even make it to some of them I didn't make to the semis. It's just the way it is. So, in a sense, we lost everything with you, Royce.
Royce, I'm right there with you. I feel this so hard.
Rob's the
This
most relatable one, yeah.
Cut to the core of me. I'm sorry. I think we should send him a care package or something.
You're like a miniature Buddha covered in hair.
Brian in Manhattan. If you guys could direct the next Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly movie, what would you make?
Okay. We need
this.
this.
Is a good one.
We need this movie.
This is a good one.
First off, Sherlock Holmes, I can't wait to see that when it comes out. I'll probably see that like that week after Christmas where all the good stuff happens. And I'll make a trip to the movie theater to see it. Maybe with the rest of the Unqualified crew, we can make that happen.
Yes.
This movie that I'm about to throw out there needs to happen. And it can go 2 ways, right? So there's 2 different options here. It depends how the production company wants to spin it. Okay, either way, it's a tennis movie. So I know Scott's already in.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Good.
So option 1
Wow.
here is we just take Caddyshack and we make it a tennis movie with like a tennis country club. And
I'm in.
I don't know if Will Ferrell is like the Rodney Dangerfield or if that's John C. Reilly. I don't know who's playing Chevy Chase's character, but we can make this happen. We can get a nice ensemble together. Or we need Will Ferrell to be essentially John McEnroe, and we need to make a gangster tennis movie.
I like this.
Tennis needs like a badass name. Like there have been some tennis movies. I think like Shia LaBeouf played John McEnroe in one recently, and then there was that like spoof with Jon Snow versus someone else. Like I don't know what that was, but
it was like the longest game.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But there needs to be one. I love that.
Ooh, wow. I'm feeling that. I think we might actually need to write these down. I think I got a pretty good one. Mine is, it's going to be a nature flick.
Big surprise.
It's gonna be John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell as like Steve Irwin types, like from that era, from like the 80s 90s era, and it's like, you know, it's sort of like the same like format as his shows, but just in movie form. And they're like, you know, maybe they're on boats, they're diving in the water, they're running through the jungle and just tormenting animals and just getting in various very dangerous situations.
I love that. That sounds also fantastic.
We need
wearing
more
very short shorts.
We need more Irwin content out there. Like we need more of that. The world needs it. So
I'm so happy watching that. Yeah. I'm gonna go. So in light of one of the questions we had a couple of weeks ago, the One Bite pizza review guy from Barstool, I'm gonna go. It's similar to that with both of them. So it's more of like almost a documentary, so to speak. But instead of pizza, it's hot sauce. So they have to try like all the hot sauces in the world and like all the spiciest hot sauces.
I like that.
I feel like it'd be pretty funny. It's not the most creative idea, admittedly, but I don't know what else to say. So
what if they were like hot people? What if they were like two dudes that like own a hot sauce company and it's like their journey around the world to like create the hottest hot sauce?
Sure, I could do that. Yeah, I like the vein of the One Bite. And just imagining Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly like dying on the streets, corners of Manhattan, eating hot sauce makes me kind of happy.
Oh yeah, they're like hot sauce critiques.
Yeah,
critics. Why am I saying critiques?
They do critiques and they are critics. Yeah,
beautiful. Harris and BK, aka Burger King. Cheez-Its versus Cheese Nips.
Go ahead. We're gonna say the same thing.
Of course, it's Cheez-Its. It has to be Cheez-Its. Now I'm gonna bring in a third contender that nobody knows.
Oh boy,
this is a sleeper. Okay, do yourself a favor and Google or go to your local grocery store and pick up a box of Better Cheddars. If you don't know what Better Cheddars are, you haven't lived life yet.
Interesting.
You're like a newborn baby. You're like a newborn baby. You haven't even learned the language of flavor yet. And you got to try these Better Cheddars, okay? I can't say anything about them. All I can tell you is they are on a entirely other level of cheese flavor. And not only cheese flavor, but the texture and the flaky consistency of the cracker is heavenly.
Wow, sponsor us. Better Cheddar.
Sponsor us.
Yep. Better Cheddar, sponsor us.
I have a wrinkle in here. So obviously we're all picking Cheez-Its, not Cheese Nips. The other question I'll pose is, do you go Goldfish or Cheddar Bunnies?
Goldfish.
Go Goldfish.
Yeah.
That was a quick answer.
Goldfish.
Okay.
Yep.
I think Goldfish as well. Cheddar Bunnies are very underrated, I feel like.
Goldfish takes the cake over almost every single snack for me.
Yeah.
I am the Joey Chestnut of Goldfish.
What's your flavor? Go to.
Straight up plain Goldfish.
The soup cracker one or like cheddar?
No, like cheddar, like your normal, your default Goldfish. I should have said that. Plain Goldfish.
Fair.
Those are kind of gross.
Cheddar Goldies.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with those. I like the Parmesan ones.
Oh, I've never had them.
You never had the Parmesan Goldfish?
Nope, never had them.
What? You've had
Listen,
better
you just-
cheddars, but not Parmesan Goldfish? Grow up, man.
Yeah, man. Everybody's got their niche.
I guess. It should be everyone's niche having Parmesan Goldfish. Anyway.
Warren in Queens. Your family got tangled with the Russian mob in an unfortunate series of events. Your only option is to go into witness protection and start somewhere new. Where do you go, and who are you?
I go to a tropical
Great.
island. It doesn't matter where. And who am I? I'm a bartender on a beach bar. And that's literally all I do for the rest of my
That's chill.
life.
That's so chill.
Yep. I work from like 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. I sleep in. I go to the beach during the day. You know, and that's it. That's like literally that's it. That's all I want to do. Swim
You
for a
have
little
a
bit.
family. What does your family do?
I don't know. Whatever they want. Whatever they want, just like me.
Surf.
He doesn't give a
all
shit
surf.
about his family.
I don't care. I want to fucking lay down on the beach all day and serve vodka to myself and other people until 2 a.m. That'd be fantastic.
I can see Neil out there just absolutely cowabungaing on the surf,
Crushing it.
yeah,
Just
he would crush it.
Crushing the surf.
killing the surf game.
Hey, they could do whatever the hell they want. We're in a tropical island. There's plenty of stuff to do. Have at it, guys, you know?
I don't know where I would go. This is interesting. I would go. It's got to be somewhere with no snow. I'm already sick of snow, and we haven't even gotten snow yet for this year.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna say I'm intrigued by Texas. I understand all the caveats of Texas and why people hate on it, but I don't know. I feel like there's some promise there.
You ever
Maybe
been to
I'm
Texas?
just- I've never been there. No.
So I've been to San Antonio and Dallas, and it's pretty cool. It's different. It's slower than New York, obviously. I mean, most things are slower than New York, but in a good way. I mean, but it's cool. I mean, the Tex-Mex is like nothing else. You would love
I
it.
love.
You're
I would
a taco
love the
guy.
I'm
Do
big
it
on
for
the
the food.
taco scene. So yeah, Texas, absolutely. I would. You know what? Maybe I'll just take a trip there instead of worrying about
think you
Whitsec
should.
here. Yeah,
I think you should.
but
That's a good answer.
So Texas. Maybe I'll be a little high school football coach and
Ooh.
and just wear sunglasses everywhere and pretend that I'm just a sage
A football
elder
guy.
statesman. Yeah, exactly.
It's the mecca of football. High school football, yeah.
I am completely cutting ties, and I'm disappearing to Australia.
Ooh.
And I'm starting either a very hip and cozy and like chill coffee shop, or
That suits you.
I'm starting I'm becoming a craftsman, and I own a wood shop where I just make very very specific items out of wood and then sell them for like thousands of
Very
dollars.
niche items.
Wow, you inspired me to change my answer because I feel like I wasn't thinking big enough. I'm going to Greece, and I am going to start a vineyard.
Wow.
Even though
Wow.
I don't really like wine that much, but I feel like that's just the lifestyle I'm looking for in my witness protection.
So Greece, or like, would you go
You're gonna
to
be a
France
wino?
or Italy or something like that? Because I feel like they have some vineyards too and stuff, and stuff.
No, I'm going to Greece. It's happening.
Greece.
Yeah. I want a place where there's just a total shadow of economic quagmire hanging over me at all times because I got to feel like home a little bit. I won't get homesick that way.
Do you like Greek food?
I love Greek food is like probably my number 2 behind like Mexican food. So
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
I'm not
That's a
into
hot
Greek
take,
food.
man.
I'm not into Greek food at all. Like
I didn't know that.
something about Greece. I'm just like, I don't know what it is. I'm just not interested at all.
Yeah, I go through phases where well, here's a question: Is I know like tzatziki and like all that stuff. Is hummus Greek or is that Mediterranean, or are they? Is it both?
I feel like it's kind of both. If
I think it might be both.
It has
Like,
to
can
be.
Greece claim that? You know what I mean?
I don't
Like,
know.
is that just Greek food?
No,
It might
I
be
don't
an
think they
adopted
can
Greek
solely
food.
claim it.
I don't think
Yeah.
I can claim it. Yeah, I love Greek salads, but I feel like besides gyros or however they say it, gyros. Like I don't know what else is Greek food.
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
just
got
think
your
of like
souvlaki, you
that
got
white
your-
sauce.
Oh yeah.
Souvlaki. Tzatziki,
All I can
yeah.
think of is white sauce.
It's just fresh. That's what it's all about. I mean, and I know you can get that
fresh
from other cuisines out there, but like, let's be real. Like, I'm not about like French food. Like, I feel like French food is a little bit overrated. So anyway, I'm just picturing white and blue buildings on the coast, and
like
relaxing
Santorini.
Relaxing in my vineyard, and just getting fat. That'd be a good time.
Nice. That sounds
lovely.
fantastic. Good question.
Okay, let's look at the Tiger Bomb spicy matchups for this fantasy championship week. Bears at 49ers. Very fun game here in the NFC. The Bears are like everyone's favorite team this year. They're like the Jaguars of last year, or maybe the Rams of last year, depending on your perspective. And the 49ers have been rattling off some wins here. They have some fun pieces as well. Scott, what do you make of this matchup?
Yeah, honestly, to talk about like the actual NFL team, the Bears are one of the most complete teams in the NFL if Trubisky plays well. And he doesn't have to play well for them to win, evidenced by the Rams game a couple of weeks ago. But this is one of the few teams if I were an NFL team, I would hate to play them in the playoffs because defense travels. You really don't want them having home field advantage throughout the playoffs because that's a tough place to play, especially if you're the Rams or the Saints who play in domes. So they can make a big push in the playoffs for actual NFL purposes. For fantasy purposes, you're still playing Tariq Cohen. Jordan Howard is a flex guy. That's about it. Trubisky is a good play this week at the 49ers. You're not really sitting anyone. Trey Burton is a tough play, but it is what it is with them. And then Kittle and Pettis on the 49ers side. That's about it. I mean, Breda is still hampered. Wilson Jr., if Breda's out, is a good play, but you can't really trust this running game, to be honest with you, I don't think, especially not against the Bears, who hamper opposing running backs.
Yeah, that backfield is one that I'm certainly going to be looking at for next year, but this week it's not the week to get cute and trust one of those guys. Yep. George Kittle, though. Let's get to work, buddy. He's playing for me in the Brady Bros championship game. I'm actually flexing him because I have him and Travis Kelce, so I really hope Kittle comes through for me. My guy, George Kittle, hopefully will make it happen for me in this fantasy championship week. Let's look at the line here. Bears by 4.5. I like the Bears as much as the next guy. They're really fun to watch, but the Niners are they're a second half team. Like they were awesome at the end of last year. Honestly, they're pretty awesome right now, and people are kind of like missing it. So I think they keep this close. They may not win, but this might be like a field goal game here.
Yeah, I agree. They're scrappy. I don't see them beating the Bears or even coming close to it. I think the Bears are going to win by at least a touchdown. So I'm taking the Bears in this one.
All right, let's look at the Bengals at the Browns here. We have very few fantasy pieces here. This game is kind of interesting in NFL terms because the Browns are in the playoff hunt. Question mark? Interesting.
Love it.
However, fantasy-wise, we're talking about like Tyler Boyd maybe, Joe Mixon definitely, and then Baker Mayfield, honestly, is like suddenly emerging as a possible option. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, that's literally it. I was just going to say Boyd and Mixon. Boyd's like a flex guy, and that's about it. But Baker could be like a top quarterback play this week. So I'd play him over Josh Allen. I'd play him over Jameis Winston, like guys like that. Baker's the guy there. And this is the defense is 32nd against quarterbacks. And the Browns are home, and they're surging. Plug Baker in here.
Love that. Love the boldness of that decision. Baker taking to the promised land, hopefully. The line here is Browns by 7. I'm taking the Browns. I think the Bengals are not a good team. I mean, if Joe Mixon goes nuts, maybe they keep it close, but I'm going Browns here.
Yep, I'm going Browns. Driscoll's not beating the Browns, not beating Baker. I'm a big Baker fan.
All right, let's look at the Vikings at the Lions. You know how I feel about the Lions, and you also know how I feel about Dalvin Cook. Where have you been, my friend? Thank you so much carrying me to the championship in the Brady Bros League. And very excited about him this week. Scott, what do you think of this Vikings-Lions matchup?
Yeah, and you've been a huge Vikings fan and Dalvin Cook fan. I'm starting to get on the bandwagon. I mean, do you think this is because of the offensive coordinator? DeFilippo is gone, and they're finally learning that they need to run the ball?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I was listening to the Ringer NFL show, and they talked about a couple things that the Vikings did. They were running, I think it was like 15% play action with DeFilippo, and they doubled it to it was like 32% of their plays were play action, which, let's be real, all the good teams in the league throw play action like in a huge percentage of the time. The Rams, the Chiefs, all these teams use that as a weapon. In order to do that, you got to get some running game going. Dalvin Cook went nutso without DeFilippo. There was easily his best game of the year, and I think it's just more to come. This is going to happen this week. It's going to happen next year. Dalvin Cook is finally going to become what we thought he was. He also looks like he's finally fully back from injury. So don't get me started on D. Cook. I'm excited about him.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, even Latavius Murray had a good game, but that was because of garbage time. But the point is, the Lions' run defense, which was good when they got Snacks Harrison, it completely failed. And maybe the offensive line got better in the Vikings. Maybe they're healthier. I don't really know what happened there. But if they're going to consciously run the ball and then do play action, which plays to Kirk Cousins' strength, you just can't rely on his arm for a whole game. Vikings are scary. They can make a playoff push now. But yeah, Dalvin Cook, you're playing. You're still playing the wide receivers. I wouldn't freak out about Thielen if you survive that. It's just the way the game went. And Stephon Diggs is still a good play, but Kirk, I would think twice about. And then the Lions, Galladay finally had a good game, but he continues his up and down season too. I think he's still a top 20 play. This is a tough week against a pretty stout pass defense, though.
Yeah, Kenny Galladay is really the diamond in the rough this year for the Lions. Hopefully he keeps it going for you because he did have a good week last week. Anyway, let's look at the line here. Vikings by 4. It's kind of low for me. I think the Vikings are a quality team. No, they're not what they were last year, but they're definitely better than 4-point favorites over the Lions. So I'm picking the Vikes here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikes too. The Lions are a joke this year.
All right, let's look at the last spicy matchup here. We have the Bucs at the Cowboys. Oh, boy.
Hey.
Cowboys crashed back down to earth, and I don't know. I mean, yes, obviously Dak is what he is, and Zeke is a stud, but what you're getting out of the Bucs, and you should not expect anything. Expect nothing, because anything can happen. On the Cowboys side, we thought we knew what we could expect, and we suddenly have some question marks. Scott, fantasy-wise, who can you trust on these offenses?
Yeah, that was a tough one last week for the Cowboys. I think Amari Cooper is going to have a huge bounce-back week this week. Bucs are 27th against wide receivers, so that's a good play. Dak is also a pretty good play, although he had a rough game last week. The other side, the Bucs, I mean, Jameis Winston, this is a tough play. The Cowboys' defense is really good, and it's at home. It's just a tough one. Jameis Winston is a tough play. I would play Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield over him, to be honest, and feel okay about it. I mean, Jameis, his upside is 2 touchdowns, 300 yards, which is 18 points, which is pretty good. But this is a tough one. I think the pass catchers just lower expectations a little bit for them.
Wait, so are you talking yourself out of your Jameis Winston start? Because don't you have him and Josh Allen?
Yeah, I know. In OG, I'm overthinking it completely. I think I'm going to try to pick up Baker and play him, to be honest.
Oh, well,
if it was between me, if it was between Jameis and Josh Allen, I think I don't know. My gut is saying it's saying both. I have no clue, but I think Jameis is going to have a tough matchup. I don't think I'm going to bench him though. I think it's just his upside is too high for me.
All right, so let's be real. Hopefully you get Baker and just that sorts itself out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that made no sense. Jameis is not going to have a great game, but he'll have a good game.
And the floor, I mean, yeah, it's pretty low, but Josh Allen's floor is also rookie against the Patriots low, so...
Right, and if it wasn't for the matchups, if it wasn't for Josh Allen going against if Josh Allen was playing any other team, I'd play him over Jameis. It's just the Patriots are going to figure him out. That's what I think. You can't go wrong either way.
All right, well, hopefully you figure that out, because I'm definitely pulling for you in the OG League. I will say, as a Mike Evans owner, a little scared. A little scared of. I know he had a good 100-yard game last week, but he has not been what I expected him to be this year, and I'm kind of hoping he doesn't let me down here. Just
what my explanation just was about my quarterback is what is going through my brain. So, so where where I'm at. I'm not an overthinker or anything like that.
No, not at all, not at all. So we're looking at the pick'em here. Let's keep it simple. The Cowboys are favored by exactly a touchdown here. I'm picking the Bucs. I think the Bucs are that team that could probably hang with the Chiefs and Rams on their best day, and they could lose to the Cardinals on their worst day. So you're really flipping the coin here. I think the Bucs can keep this game at least tight.
I'll take the Cowboys. I think they're gonna establish Zeke early and often, and then Amari Cooper can get in for a couple touchdowns, maybe 2, honestly. So I'll take the boys coming back from the Colts. Terrible loss.
Okay, game of the week time. Game of the week contenders for the fantasy championship week. And look, these are the games that are probably going to swing your matchup this week. I know there's a few, maybe some primetime matchups get it, move the needle for you. But these 4 games really have the ability to make or break your championship week here, and honestly, your entire season, and maybe your entire year if you're like Scott or I. So let's start with the Steelers at the Saints. Definitely some offensive firepower here. The defenses are okay, and I emphasize the okay there. Yes, they are good some weeks, but in general, they're kind of just middle of the pack defenses with elite offenses. So I don't know. I mean, there's studs galore here. Scott, what do you think of this Steelers and Saints matchup?
Yeah, it's always weird to me that the Saints are so bad against quarterbacks and wide receivers, like for fantasy purposes, like 32nd. But yet, every single game we watch, the quarterback and wide receivers don't do what we thought they would do. Yeah. And maybe that's just because of a horrible beginning of the season for the Saints against passing games. But like every single week, it's like, yeah, Jameis Winston's going to have a good week against them, and then he doesn't. And then Cam Newton's going to have a good week against them, and then they don't. So, Big Ben is a good play here, despite playing on the road. He's actually been pretty even home versus away this year. Obviously, if James Conner comes back, then Jalen Samuels is a tough play. But they might ease James Conner back into action. So, I don't think you could sit James Conner if he comes back, but this is a really tough matchup, so lower expectations. And then Breeze, he's kind of sucked towards the end of this year. Like, in the last 6 games, or 9 games, I think, what was it? 5 games or 6 games, he's had 203 yards or lower.
I think it's garbage that he's still in the MVP discussion. Like, they're winning games. He's awesome, but it's complete just bias because he hasn't won an MVP already. The MVP is Pat Mahomes. Yeah. It's very simple.
Easily. It's not even close. They've been winning despite him, too. Like, Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram and the defense have been stepping up completely. Michael Thomas is even having, like, a rough go of it. So, I think you're still playing those guys, but this is a tough one. I mean, the Saints are favored by 6.5. I'm going to take the Steelers in this. I just think this is a must-win for them. They need to really assert themselves in the AFC playoff implication here.
Yeah, I'm picking the Saints. I think at home it really swings the needle for me. I know 6.5 is kind of a big spread against a good offense like the Steelers, but I'm picking the Saints. I think that Lattimore will do a good job on Antonio Brown. I think this is a juju game. And that might not necessarily be a good thing for the Steelers. I think they need Brown to really be their guy because when he is, they're putting W's in the win column. So anyway, that's what I think about this game. Definitely a big one to watch in Week 16. Let's look at this one. This one I feel like this next one is a game that always is like the last week of the fantasy season, and it
is
always swings the needle or moves the needle for people. Falcons at the Panthers. You got Julio, you got Christian McCaffrey, Cam, Matty Ice. Scott, what do you think of this matchup here?
Yeah, I can't believe the Panthers lost that game. That was such a boring Monday night game, honestly. I was just on edge the whole time because it was more like, Drew Brees can't get more than 2 more points or something like that. But yeah, I think Panthers the defense actually plays pretty well at home, to be honest with you. Dante Action Jackson had that interception return for a 2-point conversion going the other way. So Matty Ice might have a tough go of it here. I think Julio is still a top 10 play, though. I think it's been proven the quarterback can do poorly in a matchup, but one wide receiver can do well. I think that's what's going to happen here. And then Panthers, I'm pretty sure if they didn't have Christian McCaffrey, then this team would be bottom 3 in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know Cam's legs give them enough of a floor that maybe they would be, 10th worst. But yeah, I agree. Without McCaffrey, this team is garbage this year. Honestly, his production is incredible considering the lack of support he's getting around him.
Yeah, and in 3 out of my 4 matchups this week, I'm playing against Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, you know what that means? It's time.
Yep, it's like Todd Gurley last
baby.
year. Yeah. I think also one quick thing about Cam Newton. I think his shoulder is a lot more hurt than he let on.
I agree.
So he's even a tough play this week. I wouldn't play him.
All right, let's look at the line here. It's Panthers by 3.5. I'm picking the Panthers still. I know that they're having a rough go of it. They've lost 6 games in a row. I think they get off the schneid here against the Falcons.
Yeah, I see them beating the Falcons. I think they're pissed that they just lost to the Saints. They had that game in their grasp.
I feel like we've been saying they're pissed for like 5 weeks in a row now. And,
we haven't been.
It's time for them
really
to finally.
now.
It's time for them to finally get it out of their system on this helpless Falcons team. All right, let's look at the Giants out of the Colts here. Some very fun fantasy studs in this game. We got Saquon on one side, Andrew Luck on the other. Scott, what do you think of this Giants-Colts matchup?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, if Peyton Manning was still in the Colts, it would have been a Manning brother matchup, which was always interesting back in the day. And this is why Archie Manning wanted them to be in separate conferences so they can eventually play in the Super Bowl against each other, and that really worked out well, didn't it? But yeah, Giants, Saquon finally came back down to earth last week. I think that was more matchup than slight dig. But I think that was more matchup than anything. The Titans' defense is pretty swarming. So this might be another tough one. The Colts' defense is actually better than you think. They're a top 10 against wide receivers and running backs, I believe. And then the Colts on the other side, Marlon Mack is one of the top streamers this week. Once they lost Damon Snacks Harrison to the Lions, Giants' run defense has been god-awful. Like, one of the worst in the league.
Yeah, keep an eye on Odell possibly coming back from injury here. I don't know what the deal is there. Obviously, it'll be sorted out by the time the games roll around. But if he does play, you have to plug him in. And he's going to be, hopefully, your fantasy savior this year because he's probably killed you being out of your lineup the last 2 weeks. I'd be interested to see how many teams are in the finals and have him on the roster. Probably not that many. However, it might be the case out there. So keep that in mind. We have the line here.
Saquon's probably on a lot.
Oh, yeah. Saquon, as long as he survived last week where he, kind of underperformed. We'll talk about Saquon quite a bit in the offseason, believe me, starting next week. So, all right. As far as the game is concerned, we have the Colts by 9.5. I think it's too high. I think the Giants can put up points. I think Saquon can run on this team. So I'm picking the Giants to at least keep it close.
I think if the Colts can beat the Cowboys by 23, what was it, 23-0?
Yeah.
Am I thinking of the right week? Was that last week?
That was last week, yeah.
Yeah, I think if they could beat the Cowboys by 23, who are supposed to be number one in the NFC East, I think they could beat the Giants by 10. I'm taking the Colts.
Okay, our final game of the week here, the Texans at the Eagles. And shout out to resident Eagles fan Ryan Brady, who I'm playing in the Fantasy Championship in the Brady Bros League. He is a huge DeAndre Hopkins fan, but unfortunately he's also a humongous Eagles fan. So this is going to be a
tough one.
It's a tough one for him, pulling on the heartstrings a little bit. Look, these are two of, in my opinion, the most interesting teams in the league. I love the personnel on both sides. I love the Nick Foles story on the Eagles side. Scott, what do you make of this Texans-Eagles matchup fantasy-wise in this championship week?
Yeah, Texans are one of my favorite teams, and they have two of my favorite players. I agree. DeAndre Hopkins is one of my favorite players, and then Deshaun Watson is low-key one of my favorite fantasy players and actual players in the NFL. He's such a good guy, and he's so freaking good. And watching him in person against the Jets last week was awesome, and Hopkins as well. But yeah, this matchup is literally perfect for Hopkins. The Eagles just got thrashed by Amari Cooper. Hopkins, he had a great game last week, and he could be the number one wide receiver this week as well. So yeah, just plug him in. Lamar Miller, it's not as scary of a matchup against the Eagles' run defense as it once was. So hopefully he's back and healthy. If he's not, don't play Alfred Blue. Do yourself a favor. Yeah. The other side, the Eagles, they got Nick Foles, right? I think Carson Wentz is out again.
Yep, he's out.
So what that means is Alshon Jeffrey is actually a pretty good play this week. And Collinsworth talked about it on Sunday night, whenever the Eagles played. What was that?
They played on, it might have been it was Sunday night. Yep.
Sunday night, whatever it was. He was saying that it felt like Carson Wentz was force-feeding the ball to Zach Ertz every single chance he could.
Yeah.
And Nick Foles just takes his time in the pocket, actually uses his playmakers how they should be used. I'm not saying he's better than Carson Wentz, but I'm saying he's maybe a little smarter this year and not as frantic as Carson Wentz was all year, and used Alshon Jeffrey. Big surprise. Alshon Jeffrey had one of the best games of the season, and I think he can have another really good game this week. I know Kareem Jackson is having one of the top years as a cornerback on the Texans, but I still think Alshon Jeffrey could have some value here.
Yeah, I think obviously I would lower expectations for Ertz a little bit. Obviously, you're not benching him. He's still a stud. He's still one of the 3 or maybe 4 actual tight end studs that we do have, but lower expectations a little bit. Obviously, that's irrelevant. It's not like it's not like you have anyone else anyway. But
exactly, Texans defense is pretty good.
Texans defense is good. Obviously, Foles spreads the ball around a little bit more. And look, the Texans, obviously the Eagles are desperate to cling to their playoff chances here, but the Texans are trying to get home field. They're trying to get that 1 seed. And that's, they're not in that position. I don't think they've ever been in this position before. So believe me, they're not going away. They're not going to rest on their laurels here for the rest of the year. I think DeAndre Hopkins, like you said, is the number 1 wide receiver play this week. And look, we're going to give you a little snapshot of next week. The number 1 wide receiver in fantasy next year and this year. He's just a stud.
Yep. Agreed.
I like that. Line is Texans by 3.5. I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah, same here. I think the Texans can be the type of guys that win you your fantasy league, and they definitely are the type of guys that win against the Eagles this week.
And that wraps up Week 16 preview. I feel like it's kind of weird that I say it that way. It's just like Week 16 preview. It's not the Week 16 preview.
The Week 16 preview.
But
Like a
that's
note
what
of
it
that for
is.
next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Better luck next year, pal.
It's kind of like how Apple says iPhone instead of the iPhone. You know?
The iPhone.
Oh.
You know, in The Social Network, that movie with, what's his name, and Justin Timberlake, and he goes, don't call it the Facebook, just Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, a lot of those moments.
Originally, it
we
was
just had our
Wow.
Facebook moment.
Your references are tight.
I mean, we
Scott.
pretty much are as popular as
Our
Facebook.
podcast
which
is
reminds,
basically the next
Which
Facebook.
reminds you guys. Yeah. So give us a review, just like you would Facebook or the Facebook.
You're right. Yeah, if you don't write a review, I mean, here's the thing. I ask every week for people to write reviews. This week, I'm just going to straight up threaten you guys. If you don't write a review, I'm coming to your house. I got all the data. I went on Facebook and I got it.
You haven't threatened before? This is the first week of
I got all the data.
Definitely the third or fourth time
I'm
he's
coming
threatened.
to your house
Yeah.
and I'm knocking on the door and I'm not leaving until you get a piece of pizza and I get a review. All right? Okay, understood?
It's not so bad, actually.
It's not that
Yeah, it's
bad.
not
It's
bad.
kind of a
That's
weird
actually
threat.
kinda nice.
It's kind of a weird threat. I'm threatening you with a reward.
I will give you pizza.
You're going to like
I'm gonna give you pizza if the last thing I do.
You're going to eat it in front of me.
Yeah, you are gonna eat it in front of me. I'm not gonna leave till you finish, and then you're gonna give me your receipt, and I'm gonna pay for it. That's gonna be it.
Sounds really
Yeah.
nice. So that's, yeah.
So enjoy that.
That's for reviews.
And yeah, so that's what Week 16. Do you guys want to leave these people with any sort of hope? Because I can't do it.
I'm going to say one thing. If, and this ties into their reviews as well, if our advice has helped you get to the fantasy championship thus far, I think you owe us 5 minutes of your time. And actually, that's an exaggeration. It really takes like 2 minutes to go on iTunes and write a review. So I think you owe that to us if we helped you in any way get to your championship. Scott.
couldn't have said it any better.
I just want to throw one more thing out there, Scott. I hope
It
you
really
lose this
is
week in
super
Hoboken.
easy. It really is super easy. You can completely just make it up. Like, say whatever you want. Just leave a review.
Yeah. I like that. And, yeah, Sean, you're going down.
Johnson Brady 2.0.
Excited to see it. Well, see you later.
Hope see you later.
See you later.